Well, welcome to Hampton Downs International Motorsport Park for the second round of the Bridgestone GR86 Championship. We rarely come to the long format circuit at Hampton Downs, so it's a real pleasure to be here. Boys have had a long summer break between round one and round two, so I'd like to welcome the four guys tonight. We're joined first by Thomas Mallard, a race lab. Thomas, you're one of the still a youngster, but actually getting on towards being one of the veterans in this championship. You did two previous seasons in the TR86, and you're obviously a mainstay now, GR86. So you've got loads of experience of the tracks, of the cars and the setups. What are the fundamental differences between the old car and the new car? Let's start there.
Well, the new car is a lot softer than the old car. It's just you have to be a lot nicer to it and a lot smoother. Whereas the old car, you, like through the midsection on the club circuit, you could just kind of throw it around a bit more. Whereas this car, you have to be really nice with the inputs, which is a bit different. And then the old car, you could just kind of get on the throttle straight away and straight to 100%. Whereas this car, I've noticed, doesn't really like it too much. But otherwise, there's not too many differences. It's still a race car at the end of the day, so it's still fun to drive. So yeah.
So all that stuff that you learned in the first 2 years when you came out of the domestic stuff at Pukekohe in here, what have you had to relearn or really focus on from your skill set to adapt to the 86, the new one?
To be honest with you, the first day that we did it, I was quite quick. I took the approach of driving it like a road car at the start and just building myself up, and that seemed to work. It's a lot like driving my SsangYong Ute. It's quite soft and likes to roll around a little bit more, so you have to be a bit nicer to it. You can't just throw it around. So I feel like I adjusted to it quite quickly, which was good. And then, yeah, we're still learning a lot more, still got a lot more to learn. We were P4 and P9 today, so still got some time to find, but it's so close, like it's hard to split the grid.
Talking of how close it is, I often think you guys do yourself a disservice when you say you're ninth or something and you're less than a tenth and a half away from the fastest time. Just to put it in context, today 24 of the cars were covered by 0.7 of a second in one of those sessions. How important does that make understanding the small changes you make to the car or to your driving technique for the big picture? Because obviously there's huge ramifications if you go a tenth quicker or a tenth slower.
Yeah, well, it's pretty annoying when you're on the other side of that tenth, to be honest with you. But yeah, I try not to focus on the car side of things too much. I tell the boys what I need and they get it done. I just try and focus on myself and see what I can do better. It's really good, this series. It provides you with all the data and stuff, so you can see where there's no lying really. So it's good, and I can always back myself up with my feedback, which is good.
Last couple of years, we've seen some really awesome, great racing amongst all of you guys. This year there's 26 of you now, I think there are, all covered by next to nothing. How fierce is the racing this year, Thomas?
Well, I've only really got to go off round one, and I think everyone wasn't going too hard then, but the tyres are a lot different. It goes off quite early in the race, so I'm not sure how fierce the racing will be, especially around a track like this where it's not too high of a dig track. So it'll be interesting to see how we go with the racing. If the tyre holds on for a bit longer, I think near the end of the race you'll see a lot of passing being done, and depending how people manage the tyre, which is something that we've never really had to do. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Can I follow off on the theme of tyres? Obviously, new tyre in Bridgestone this year. Can you compare it to last year's tyre? And then finally, you get new tyres for qualifying tomorrow. How do you set up the car differently, having had so many test runs on these old tyres?
Well, I can't give you too much about the setup, Jonathan. Come on, mate. But you can push the car a lot more when you're on the new tyres, which is good. But yeah, it's just about really keeping it smooth. And then the old tyre, the Nixon tyre, it was a lot harder. So you could it was a harder compound, so you could push it more on the outlap and stuff, and you did work harder to get head into it. Whereas I find this one, you want to not push so hard on the outlap and try and conserve it for as long as possible. And then in the wet, this tyre I find is a lot better. So in the old car is what I've got to go off, but on the Nixon in the old car, it was kind of like driving on ice. Really, it was really skatey. Whereas this car, you can still you can use the tyre a bit more, which is good, which is really nice to be able to do.
Pana here from Pana in the Paddock. My question for you is, what skills have you learned and developed from your last round in Topol?
I've really just been trying to focus on my qualifying. Really, we've taken the old car out and we've done a couple of quali sims. So I'm hoping to, because we were fast in practice last time. We were top 5 every single session, and then we were P11 in quali. So I'm just looking to improve my quali really when the pressure's on.
Well, best of luck with that tomorrow, Thomas, and
Thank you.
we'll catch up with you on the podium, I guess.